JazzCast Pros.
When I woke up in 2013 from my suicide attempt, that I would be transparent, that I wouldn't hide behind my mental illnesses, I wouldn't hide behind situational issues, that I would be open and honest to me first about who I am, about what I need, about how I can be a healthier me. That was my promise to me. And because I made that promise to me, you all get to live and see what that looks like on the outside.
Welcome to Living the Front Seat Life. I'm your host, Kelly Marie, and I invite you to take this journey with me. We're going to be talking about all things mental health and emotional well-being. You see, I am a overcomer. If you are interested in figuring out the path for you to determine how and where you will drive your future, this is the place to be. We get to determine the ride. We may not get to determine the weather or who's on the road with us or if it's going to be a scenic route or not, but we are the drivers. So join me on this ride, living the front seat life.
Hey, good people. Welcome. So I'm your host, Kelly Marie, and I know I sound a little different to you. I'm a little under the weather. I've been sick for a little while now. It's not COVID. I've been tested. I think it's just a change in weather. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to push out a full podcast. So we're going to roll with it. So roll with me. I wanted to take some time and talk about radical transparency and what that means. Came about from an article that Lisk wrote and just released about my work. And it was in the title. And so I was, when I first read it, I was taken aback a little bit by radical transparency, because I don't see what I do as being radical by any stretch of the imagination. It's just what I do. But in reading the article and reading the interview, even though they were my words, I really got to see a different side of myself. So the actual article will be in the show notes to read the article. I've shared with you before that I am a Rubinger Fellow, and the purpose of the fellowship is to pour into small businesses and to support projects that will impact community. Now, my project was to develop a peer coaching model, a way of helping people looking to address their mental health, but not in a traditional medical therapeutic setting. And so I worked with a little under 40 people this past year in developing that model and coaching individuals and helping them figure out what mental health looks like to them. So we have this idea and notion that everybody is supposed to be the same. Everyone is supposed to think the same. Everyone is supposed to move the same. And that's just not true. I mean, it doesn't even make sense for all of us to be and think the same. And so the same is true for mental health. We are not all going to have the same idea and same plan for what mental health is and what it looks like in our individual lives, because we're living front seat lives, right? So we're all at different places, different stages of this journey. And while we're in this journey together, we're not going to be able to take the same turns. We're not going to be able to be on the same roads even. And so the same is true when you look at your mental health and what you want your mental health to be like, what you need in order to maintain the standard of mental health you have set out for yourself. Now, I'm going to be honest, a lot of people don't even realize that they have a measure of mental health, but we all do. And I talk about this often. We all have a measure of mental health, just like we all have a measure of physical health. And so I am currently working on my physical health. That is a part of my lifelong journey as well. And so my physical health is going to be different than someone else's physical health. The same is true for mental health, guys. And so back to this term, radical transparency. It came up in the Lisk interview. And again, the article link will be in the show notes. And you'll be able to read more about why, how, when, all that stuff. So I encourage you to head over there after listening to this kind of scratchy podcast. But you have to be able to be honest with yourself. And that's what the first part of radical transparency is being radically honest with you. You are the one that's living your life every day. And so you have to be radically honest with yourself. And what does that mean? If you need to focus on your mental health and self-care, if you need to, it's time to find a therapist or a psychiatrist, if you need to learn some different tools to manage, if you need to take medication in order to manage symptoms, if you need to start telling your friends and family about your story so that they understand who you really are and what's going on the inside of you, that is radical. That is what it takes to really live a radical lifestyle when it comes to mental health. Now, for me, this radical transparency comes from really being open about my diagnoses and the struggles that occur and that I live with on a daily basis. I mean, for me, it's just life. But I promised myself when I woke up in 2013 from my suicide attempt that I would be transparent, that I wouldn't hide behind my mental illnesses. I wouldn't hide behind situational issues, that I would be open and honest to me first about who I am, about what I need, about how I can be a healthier me. That was my promise to me. And because I made that promise to me, you all get to live and see what that looks like on the outside. And so I talk about borderline personality disorder. I talk about the ups and downs of having a mental illness. I talk about depression and anxiety and how those two things, battle it out in my brain and how it spills over into my daily life. Forever being open and transparent about what this life is like. I come here and share with you guys tips and tricks and suggestions on being mentally healthy. But that's because I live in a place of mental illness. And what many folks see, if you don't know my story, you see someone that appears mentally healthy. I work every day, I pay my bills, I have healthy relationships, I have healthy boundaries for myself. But I do all of those things, and I have all of those things because I live with mental illnesses. And in order for me not to have extreme symptoms, which, include the opposite of everything that I just listed, I have to implement and be radically transparent in my life. And so I encourage you to take a few minutes and head over to the Lisk website and check out the article on Front Seat Life and radical transparency, what it looks like, what it feels like, and maybe how you too can begin to live a radically transparent lifestyle. So until the next time, if you are in need of assistance, you need someone to talk to, maybe you're in crisis, you can call the National Suicide Prevention Hotline at 1-800-273-8255. You can also text HOME to 741-741. And if you're in need of resources, you can dial 211, or you can go to 211 in your web browser and look up keyword searches for resources. So until the next time, I hope that I'm sounding better, feeling better. We can have a full conversation, you guys. But until then, again, head over to the Lisk website, LIS as in Sam, CLISC.org, and learn more about radical transparency and also the Rubinger Fellowship Program. Yeah, that's all I got for you guys today. So until next week, be the light.